Jar ASMR. Why, hello YouTube. It's been a while, about 3 years. Since that time, I've had a son, completed a graduate program, and moved across several states here in the US. I would like to thank my subscribers. While small in number, it's because of you that I have decided to return and make more videos. Initially, I had hopes that this channel would produce more videos, but life got a little complicated and something had to give. Now that things have settled back down, it's my goal to create videos on a more regular basis. And with that, I'd like to readdress what this channel will be about. It's been renamed to Jar ASMR. Jar standing for Just Ask Ryan. While I'm not a counselor by trade or certified, I thought during our videos I would be able to weigh in on any requested information, and if none is requested, I would hit topics of my own interests, such as dealing with depression, anxiety, or lack of sleep. Similar to how newspapers used to have a column, just ask so-and-so. I don't expect my advice to be taken, but sometimes a third-party perspective is nice to hear. And with that, you can see we are playing Old School RuneScape. The reason why I've decided to use this game as the medium for my channel is because there'll be lots of grinding to level up, and that'll give us an opportunity to talk about these subjects. Additionally, as we go through the quests, the dialogue's pretty funny, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, so this will be an opportunity for you to listen in as I read along. You'll notice that the audio settings have the music set to 0. We'll likely keep it that way for the duration of this channel, and that's so there isn't any crazy changes in volume as we go through and play the game. Some of the songs have trumpets and others are much quieter. Lastly, I'd like to say how we are going to be running our character through this game. We're going to be doing something called Hardcore Iron Man, and we're going to be sticking to the free-to-play version. Essentially, if our character dies, our account is lost, and we'll be playing through every free-to-play quest up to slaying the dragon. For those of you who don't know this game, it's quite easy to follow along. It's just an RPG, a time waster if you will, where we point and click and make our way through. And our first episode starts here on Tutorial Island. We're not going to be getting into any side subjects during Tutorial Island because we'll mostly be talking about the game and how this channel is going to progress through our Let's Play. However, as I make new videos, I hope that you'll weigh in with comments to let me know what I can improve upon on the channel and what subjects you'd like to be discussed during our playthrough. So without further ado, we're going to get started, and we're going to do what every YouTube channel is expected to do, and that's a face reveal. So here we go. This is Jar ASMR. So settings menu. On the side panel, you can now see a variety of game settings. You can also click on all the setting buttons to see all available settings. Talk to Gillinor Guide to continue. And he's right here. We'll zoom out a bit and angle ourselves to be a little easier. As we go through Tutorial Island, you're going to see a progress bar here along the bottom. That's not typical for a majority of the game, however, here we will see that. And then these yellow arrows will indicate where we should go next. There's some dialogue that we're going to skip because it's just not very interesting, but we'll be reading through what the characters have to say and learning about how the game functions as we go. Looks like you're making good progress. The menu you've just opened is one of many. You'll learn about the rest as you progress through the tutorial. Anyway, I'd say it's time for you to go and meet your first instructor. So we're going to go through this door that's blinking, and we're going to make our way down to our first instructor. Survival Expert. Hello there, newcomer. My name is Brienne. My job is to teach you about the skills you can use to survive in this world. The first skill we're going to look at is fishing. There's some shrimp in the pond here. Let's try to catch some. The Survival Expert gives you a small fishing net. To view the items you've been given, you'll need to open your inventory. To do so, click on the flashing backpack icon to the right-hand side of your screen. So that's right over here is where we'll be keeping our inventory. This is your inventory. You can view all of your items in here, including the net you've just been given. Let's use it to catch some shrimp. So there's some sparkling water here that indicates where there's shrimp. Fishing spots can have a variety of ways to fish. Here, we're just going to select net fishing. Your character's now attempting to catch some shrimp. Sit back for a moment while he does that. And we managed to catch some shrimp. We'll see over here in our inventory. We've gained some experience. Click on the flashing bar graph icon near the inventory button to see your skills menu. So here are the skills that we're able to level up. You're going to see that some of them are grayed out, and those are for members only. Remember, we're going to stick to free-to-play accounts, and that way you guys could also play along if you feel inclined. We'll go through what all of these do, but essentially we have all of our combat stats over here, and we have fishing. We just got 10 experience in fishing from getting our shrimp. So we'll go back and we'll talk to our survival expert. I managed to catch some shrimp. Excellent work. Now that you have some shrimp, you're going to want to cook them. To do that, you'll need a fire. This brings us on to the woodcutting and fire making skills. The survival expert gives you a bronze axe and a tinderbox. So if we go to our inventory, we can actually see that they've given it to us. So it's time to cook some shrimp. However, you require a fire to do that, which means you need some logs. You can cut down trees using your woodcutting skill. All you need is an axe. Give it a go by clicking on one of the trees in the area. So as long as we have an axe in our inventory and we click on a tree, our character will go and attempt to cut down some wood. There's different types of trees throughout the game, and as our woodcutting gets higher, we're able to cut more complicated trees down. We managed to cut some logs. Now that you have some logs, it's time to light a fire. First, click on the tinderbox in your inventory. Then, with the tinderbox highlighted, click on the logs to use the tinderbox on them. So you'll see in our inventory, we'll click on the tinderbox and it becomes highlighted. We can then click on the logs, and our character will attempt to light the logs. And now that he's done that, cooking is similar. We're going to click on our shrimp and highlight it, and then we're going to click on our fire to cook it. So we've managed to cook some shrimp. Well done, you've managed to cook your first meal. Speak to the survival expert if you would like a recap, otherwise, move on. Up here is our mini-map. We are this white dot in the center, and the yellow arrow helps indicate where we should go. If I rotate the camera and lower it a bit, you can see that gate has a flashing yellow arrow to match what's on our mini-map. So if you see me move, sometimes it's because I'm referencing the mini-map instead of moving my camera about to get there. For instance, we're going to just click on that door and our character will run down and find the fastest path instead of this meandering little scenery there. Master Chef. Ah, welcome, newcomer. I am the Master Chef, Lev. It is here that I will teach you how to cook food truly fit for a king. I already know how to cook. Brienne taught me just now. Ha ha ha, you call that cooking? Some shrimp on an open log fire? No, no, no. I'm going to teach you the fine art of cooking bread. The Master Chef gives you some flour and some water. Similar to everything else that interacts, if we want to mix the two, we just select them both and highlight it. And now it's asking us to cook it on the oven here, so we're going to highlight our bread and walk over the oven, or our dough, and go over the oven and it'll make a loaf of bread. And then we can move on and go through the next door. So here it's teaching us about the run mechanic. Up here in the top right, I have a little foot, and when it's golden, I'm running, and when it's not golden, I'm not running. Depending on how much we're carrying, will determine how quickly our energy drains, and we get it back by standing still or, just relaxing in the game. So now we're going to learn about quests, and that's going to be fairly important for our run-through, because as I said, we're going to do all the free-to-play quests and essentially kill the dragon. That is the sort of the end quest for the free-to-play version of this game. Welcome, adventurer. I'm here to tell you all about quests. Let's start by opening your quest journal. So click on the flashing icon to the left of your inventory. And that's this down here. And here's all of the free quests, and I believe if we scroll down you can see all the members quests. So it goes on for quite a ways if we were to become members, but we're going to be focusing just on these quests here. They're in alphabetical order, but that doesn't mean this was the order that we are going to be completing the quests in. This is your quest journal. It lists every quest in the game. Talk to the quest guide again for an explanation of how it works. Now that you have the journal open, I'll tell you a bit about it. At the moment, all of the quests are shown in red, which means you have not started them yet. When you start a quest, it will change color to yellow. Once you've finished it, it will change to green. This is so you can easily see what's complete, what's started, and what's left to begin. Clicking on a quest in the journal will display some more information on it. If you haven't started the quest, it will tell you where to begin and what requirements you need. If the quest is in progress, it will remind you what to do next. It's very easy to find quest start points. Just look out for the quest icon on your minimap. You should see one marking this house, and that's up here in the top right. We can see this blue quest marker. The minimap in the top right corner, we just talked about that, lucky us. The quests themselves can vary greatly from collecting beads to hunting down dragons. Completing quests will reward you with all sorts of things, such as new areas and better weapons. There's not a lot more I can tell you about questing. You have to experience the thrill of it yourself to fully understand. Let me know if you want a recap, otherwise you can move on. So to move on, we're going to go down into the basement here. And that takes us down into the mines. We're going to click on the minimap to direct our character over to this yellow arrow. As you can see, we're almost halfway done with Tutorial Island. Hi there, you must be new around here. So what do I call you? Newcomer seems so impersonal, and if we're going to be working together, I'd rather call you by name. You can call me Jar ASMR. Okay then, Jar ASMR. My name is Dezik, and I'm a miner by trade. Let's teach you how to mine. Mining is very simple. All you need is a pickaxe. The rocks around here contain tin and copper. Why don't you get started by mining some? If you're unsure which is which, you can prospect them to find out. So he gives us a pickaxe, which is in our inventory. When he says prospect, every actionable element in this game, you can right-click and pick different things, and the default when you left-click is the top option. So of course copper is a coppery color, and tin is a dull silver color. So we're going to go mine some tin, and then we're going to mine some copper. And the next thing it's going to have us do is smelt it in a furnace, and we're going to make a copper ingot. Or a bronze ingot, I apologize. Copper and tin make bronze. Nothing interesting happens. That's because I accidentally had the bronze ingot selected, and then I tried to use it here on Dezik, so it's thinking that I'm trying to interact. I have a bronze bar. What now? Now that you've got a bar, you can smith it into a weapon. To smith something, you need a hammer and an anvil. There's some anvils just here that you can use. See if you can make a bronze dagger. just click on one of the anvils, and it's going to open up a menu, and we're going to make the bronze dagger. And with that, we're all done with Desik, and we can move on. And here, we're going to learn about combat. Hi, my name's Jar ASMR. Do I look like I care? To me, you're just another newcomer who thinks they're ready to fight. I am Vanica, the greatest swordsman alive, and I'm here to teach you the basics of combat. Let's get started by teaching you to wield a weapon. You now have access to a new interface. Click on the flashing icon of a man, the one to the right of your backpack icon. So it's right here. This is your worn inventory. Here you can see what items you have equipped in the bottom left corner. In the bottom left corner you'll notice a flashing icon. With the combined statistics on the right, let's add something. Click on the dagger to equip it. So as you can see, when I added the dagger, my stab and slash went up, my crush went down, different stats moved around. Very good, but that little butter knife isn't going to protect you much. Let's get you something a bit better. Once you're properly equipped, we can move on to some actual combat. So he's given us a wooden shield and a bronze sword. So when we click on our combat stats here in the bottom right, we can pick what style of combat we are doing, and they lean towards different things, and it tells you which of your skills over here it helps level up. So we have stab, which does attack experience, a lunge is strength, a slash is strength, and block is defensive experience. We're going to stick with stabbing because attack determines how often we hit, where strength determines how high of a number we hit. And defense, of course, determines how often they hit us. So we'll go here and we'll fight this little rat. So far we're winning. And now that he's dead, we can go back and learn about other combat. I did it! I killed a giant rat. I saw. You seem better at this than I thought. Now that you've grasped basic swordplay, let's move on. Next up, we have ranged combat. With this, you can kill foes from a distance. With ranged, you'll be able to attack the rats without entering the pit, meaning they won't be able to fight back. The combat instructor gives you a short bow and some bronze arrows. So we can go here, we select our short bow, and it takes off our shield and sword, and we can select our arrows, and that puts it into our inventory as well. And now, just like before, we can pick how we want to attack. So long range gives us ranged experience and defense experience. Accurate and rapid both give range experience. And we're going to stick with accurate because I'd rather hit more often than fire faster. Though it's not working so great right now. And now that we've shot that rat to death, we're all done learning about physical combat, and we can move on. We're going to climb up this ladder. So here's a lot of the dialogue we're likely going to skip, mostly because it's just how the game works. Here we learn about our bank and how we can put things in our bank. So we're going to get rid of the dagger, the pot, the bucket, the fishing net. Basically, we'll get rid of everything but the food that we plan to eat, and maybe our combat items we'll keep for now. Then it teaches us about the polling booths. So Old School RuneScape is very community driven, and if you're a member, you're able to vote on proposed changes to the game, and it requires 75% approval before they make any changes. So here are recent polls that have closed or that are currently open and their outcomes, but we're not going to go through that. this gentleman here is going to tell us all about our account and how to log in and out, and what members gain access to, and the different things that are available to them. So we're going to skip through that because we're just sticking to a free-to-play account. I don't need to hear about the things that members get or how to become a member. And now we can move on. And now we get to learn about prayer. So prayer is a way to sort of augment our combat. We get a little stronger doing different things. Good day, brother. Hello, I'm Brother Brace. I'm here to tell you about prayers. Click on the flashing icon to open the prayer menu. So our prayers are here, and these are all the different things that it augments. The first prayer is thick skin. It increases our defense. Then we can increase our strength and our attack, our range, and our magic. And then later on it gets a little more powerful, the things that we can do. This is your prayer list. Prayers can help a lot in combat. Click on the prayer you wish to use to activate it, and click again to deactivate it. Active prayers will drain your prayer points, which are up here next to your run points, which you can recharge by finding an altar or other holy spot and pray there. As you noticed, most enemies will drop bones when defeated. Burying bones by clicking them in your inventory, you will gain prayer experience. I'm also the community officer around here, so it's my job to tell you about your friends and ignore list. So here's our friends and ignore list, where we can add and delete friends, and then we can also ignore folks by adding and deleting them there. Right, now I'll tell you a little bit about each list. You can add people to either list by clicking the add button and then typing the name in the box that appears. You can remove from the list the same way. If you add someone to your ignore list, they will not be able to talk to you or send any form of message to you. Your friends list shows the online status of your friends. Friends in red are offline, friends in green are online. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. You're almost finished on Tutorial Island. Pass through the door to find the path leading to your final instructor. So we'll make our way to our final instructor. Oh, actually, so you may miss this guy on your first playthrough, but this is the Iron Man tutor. And as discussed, we're going to make our account a hardcore Iron Man. Iron Men are accounts that have additional restrictions put on them, and the reason why that exists is because this game is very old, and some creative folks thought of ways to make the game harder for themselves. When the community noticed that there were players doing this, they thought, that sounds like a great idea, and they made it an actual option in the game. So this character here is going to talk to us about the different types of Iron Men, and I'm not going to read through all of his dialogue, only because it takes quite a bit of time. But what we're doing is specifically called a hardcore Iron Man, and when we die, we are no longer going to be considered a hardcore Iron Man. We are unable to trade with other players. All of the money and equipment that we acquire needs to be done through the game, either through NPCs or non-playing characters, or through our own crafting and smithing. One of the reasons why I wanted to do that was it'll just make it a little more interesting for us. It'll make it a little more in-depth. The account will last a little bit longer. And also, ideally, over time, as this channel gains more followers and more views, no one will be able to influence the account by being generous or helpful in any way. Because I know a lot of folks out there love to be a part of something, and I'm glad that you're a part of this channel, but you're not going to be a part of this RuneScape account. So with that, we're going to talk to this gentleman, and I'm going to say, tell me about Iron Men. He's going to go on and on about the different types of Iron Men there are. And then I'd like to change my Iron Man mode, and I'm going to be a hardcore Iron Man. So, when you become an Iron Man, you need to set a bank pin, and we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to say, okay, let me set my pin. And this is where you guys need to pay real close attention, so that way you also know the pin that I'm using on this account, and that way if you ever access it, you can take everything out of my bank for me. So pay real close attention in 3, 2, 1. And there we go. I hope you guys got a chance to get that pin and write it down. That way if you ever get access to the account, you can empty out my bank. So your Iron Man mode has been updated and your new pin is now in effect. And now I can just walk on to the next instructor. So this is our final instructor. Hello. Good day, newcomer. My name is Terrava. I'm here to tell you about magic. Let's start by opening your magic interface. So this is one of our menus over here. We open it up, and there's going to be a lot more spells available, but because we're on Tutorial Island, it's just showing us these two. Currently, you can only cast one offensive spell called Wind Strike. Let's try it out on some of those chickens. Terrava gives you some air runes and mind runes. So we use runes in this game to cast magic, and that's why the game is called RuneScape, because it's the land of ruins. You now have some runes. All spells require runes to cast them. Look for the Wind Strike spell in your magic interface. Click on this spell and select it, and then click on a chicken to cast it. So we're going to click on the spell, click on the chicken, and kaboom! We're going to hit him. And now we talk to Terrava one more time. Well, you're all finished here now. I'll give you a reasonable number of runes when you leave. Do you want to go to the mainland? And we're going to say yes, I would. When you go to the mainland, you will find yourself in the town of Lumbridge. If you want some ideas on where to go next, talk to my friend, the Lumbridge Guide. You can't miss him. He's holding a big staff with a question mark on the end. He also has a white beard and carries a rucksack full of scrolls. There are also many tutors willing to teach you about the many skills you could learn. When you get to Lumbridge, look for the icon on your minimap. That's where you'll find the Lumbridge Guide. Prepare yourself, and then away we teleport. So welcome to Lumbridge. If you need some help, simply talk to the Lumbridge Guide. Look for the question mark icon on your minimap to find him. And I'm not going to move my character from this point, but I do want to speak a little more about the channel. I'd like to thank you all for staying subscribed for as long as you did. And if you're new to watching this video, I'd like to encourage you to come back for future videos. Please leave a comment on anything I can do to improve the channel or the sound quality. I'm very new to video editing and YouTube in general, and I am very fortunate that I have a very rewarding life and a very rewarding career. So this is mostly a side hobby. Well, actually, it's just a side hobby. And it's because I've always enjoyed ASMR, and I wanted to try and give back to the community. So as I said before, future episodes, we're going to be discussing varying topics while we level our character up. And it's just so that way there aren't long pauses and boring times of you watching me endlessly chop a tree without us discussing a subject that others could find helpful. If there's a particular subject you'd like to hear about, or something you'd like advice on, please leave a comment. And then lastly, this channel is all about relaxation. So know that while I am happy to weigh in and help on various subjects, we're going to try and keep the material light. If we start heading into very heavy topics such as self-harm or disorder, eating disorders or something something that would require a professional to weigh in on, I will likely avoid those subjects, but I will always do my best to respond to you privately if those messages are received with resources that are available to you. Again, thank you all for waiting for so long for the next video, and I look forward to us continuing our adventures together here in RuneScape. This is Jar ASMR, and have a nice night.